Measure that really accurately. That's 135 and a bit. So welcome back to Abus and Beyond, and today I'm doing a bit of work in the van, as you can see. I'm actually wanting to get this finished off pretty much, you know, starting to make it look a lot better. Obviously you can see insulation and vapor barrier and all that stuff. I've just been battening and I bought, in fact you can see them just here, bought these boards. I'll grab one out in a minute. I bought these boards which are like a 6mm ply, and they look like they've got tongue and groove already in them. So bought a couple of those. They should fit one up to about there, all the way across, and then the next one obviously to the top. But I need to cut out the window aperture, yeah, and try and obviously make it look good against that edge. So we'll see how we get on with that. I think I'm also going to have to maybe like carpet a tiny bit. I should have done it before I put that batten on, really. A tiny bit of carpet in there, a bit like what you can see here, just because I don't think I'll get the board quite as flush against there as I'd like. So if I just run a bit of carpet up there, I think that should look quite good. Well, yes, that definitely would have been easier if I'd done it before I did the batten, but it looks alright, doesn't it? You'd never know. Well, you will, because you're going to see this video, but you'd never know. So these are the boards that I've got. Let's try again. Will you go and get me a pencil? So I've measured around the window, well, measured the window size, the aperture, and now I'm just trying to get some curves. I'm using this bowl. I'm a little bit concerned because it's going to be properly flimsy once I've cut it, because I'm taking out the bulk of the board. So as you can see, I have now cut out the aperture. I've put a bit of a curve in there all the way along. A couple of things I should have done. One, created more space for myself. I should have moved the van forward, really, because it's just been a bit awkward. Yeah, I should have supported it better as I did it all, really. I went a bit, the line went a bit all over the place when I was going along the bottom edge, so that's why I then put in a spirit level as a straight edge. Just to give the jigsaw something to run along. I do have a circular saw, but which would have got a straighter cut, but it's a bit brutal. It's a bit well, I've got the wrong blade, I think, for it, so I went safe with the jigsaw, and it looks okay actually. And after sanding it down a bit, it looks all right. Once it's painted, I think it should look pretty good. But I've just got the precarious sort of job of getting it in the van, because obviously it's a bit flimsy now. It's got a thin edge, and yeah, but we'll see how we get on there. Right, this bit here needs chopping out so that you can actually get your finger into there to open and close the blind. So I've just marked where it is. You can see that there. I need to take this back outside to the jigsaw just to make it look a bit tidier. Right, well there we have it, that's the first piece on. A little cut out there so that you can still put that down. And then, yeah, it's screwed in, but I will use wood filler and hide the screws just before I paint it. That goes quite nicely against the carpet there, quite like that. And now I need to put the top bit on, because I can't really remember where the buttons are. And my other batteries are dead. It's been quite tricky actually, this one. I thought this would be a lot easier than the one beneath, but this has been harder because I've had to scribe against here, and I am so bad at scribing. I'm not going to lie about that. I am so rubbish at it. But, you know, it's close enough. So I'm having to screw these in by hand. But once all the screws are covered up and painted, it'll look quite good, I think. Right, there we have it. The top one's on as well. Like I say, all these screw holes will be filled, painted over. I'm not too concerned about this edge here because I plan to have the shower unit covering that. So we'll work out what we're going to do with that when it comes to it. Little hole there for some of the cables to come through. There's going to be an overhead locker here. It's certainly not a perfectly straight line. That was why this one took so long. I had planned, I'd put a track to stop the jigsaw from moving, but then I wasn't careful enough with where I put the track, so yeah, not great. But it looks okay. It's not too bad, I don't think. You can still obviously pull the blind down, and that's quite nice now because that's like hidden in the aperture there. Yeah, and obviously goes up to the edge here. I'm not too happy about how that looks, but I'll work out what I'm going to do with that in a bit. Maybe I get some paint in on that little bit of wood, and a bit of decorator sort of caulking on there. I don't know. But I think on the whole, it's going to look pretty good actually. Obviously done a little cut out at the bottom there for that as well. Anyway, that just needs to dry and then sanded back. So as with all these jobs, it took loads longer than I was expecting. It still needs painting, but at least we've got, you know, a bit of decor on the wall. It looks quite nice actually. I'm pleased with that. Maybe I should have used those boards actually for the ceiling rather than doing individual tongue and groove. I'm not sure, but it turned out okay. Yeah, and I'm pretty pleased with how that looks. They're quite expensive boards actually. They're sort of £33 for a 1.8 metre by 600mm, I think it is, board. So yeah, they're not cheap. But the exciting thing is what's behind me. That's what we are actually going to install for overhead locker storage. You may have seen in a previous video that I actually installed some Vandermoon organisers on the back doors. And yeah, these are from the same company, in the same material as well. So let's have a quick look at one of these. I'm not going to install it today because it's quite, I think it's definitely a two-person job. There's no way I can lift it and fix it in place. Plus I need to paint that wall first anyway, which is probably going to be Lizzie's job. I do not do painting. I'm so rubbish at it. So yeah, let's take a look at the boxes behind. Right, so I've already opened one over there, which is actually going to be for over the bed. So that's going to be on a completely different day. But this is the biggest one, and this is an absolute beast. These are so cool. We love the build quality of these. They're massive. Look at the size of this thing. And they're soft as well, which is really nice. They're designed to fit exactly in the crafter. They do loads of different ones. They do crafter based ones, they do Ducato ones, transits, you name it, they do it. So we've actually got a couple of different ones here. This is the one that's going to go over the well, over there, over the rock and roll bed. It's going to fit up inside there. This is the standard moon box. Now this is obviously in a pretty big size, but you've got these pockets on the front, which are handy. Another one there, and that's in like two individual pockets, which is quite nice. And then the same again on this side. I like the little logo that you have on the Vandermoon products. And there's also, this is the way it will be mounted, but if I show you on the bottom, there's actually pockets as well under there, so which will obviously be flat. They'll be sort of horizontal when it's actually mounted. But that's quite handy for maybe putting books in, or your iPad, I don't know, anything like that really. And then when you actually open it with these zippers, you have got this sort of 4 different compartment setup here. So you've got these nice decent shelves. There's also spaces if you want to mount nets. You can actually get nets that go across there. You've got these zipper bits on the front here. This is the fixing kit that's in here. So yeah, this bit's all zippered. Oh, in fact they're in separate bits, so you've got a zipper bit on the top there as well. So that's quite handy. Obviously that will be down when it's fully open, so you can easily get stuff in and out. That's quite handy. Yeah, and it's just really well built. It's a wooden frame, but with a softer outside. And the main reason we actually ended up speaking to Vandermoon about these was because we plan to have overhead lockers right next to the bed, and we loved the fact that these are really, really soft. So if you or the kids or whatever are rolling around in the bed and you roll into it, it's not going to matter because it's soft. And then because we wanted those over the bed, we also decided just to keep it all the same, that we wanted one over the front here as well. So yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. It's going to take a little bit of fixing. Now there's multiple different ways you can actually mount it, and those different methods are actually shown in the instructions. You can either riv nut it straight to a structural part of the van, because it needs to take a fair bit of weight, so it's got to be pretty well secured. They also do a setup where you can use like bars that go in between the roof struts, and then it mounts to that. Now that's all well and good if I hadn't already built the ceiling, but I've already put the ceiling in, so I can't do that. And where the fixings are, if I show you on here, you can see some actual green dots that when I was sort of test fitting where it would go, they're not in line with the actual structural beam that goes across. Same further back here, they're in the middle of nowhere. So it's going to be a little bit tricky. My plan is fine at the back there, because there is actually a double skin wall that goes all the way across there. So it's fine fixing it to the back. It's these top two fixings. Now what I plan to do is run a steel bar all the way along the top there, riv nut that into these. There's a bar, there's a structural piece there, there's a structural piece there. I might even get a really long one and actually structurally put it there as well. I'm going to mount that steel bar to the structural part of the van and then mount the actual Vandermoon moon box to that steel bar that I install. This wall and the storage is one of the main things that we need to get sorted before our trip later in the year. So there's a few things I need to get done definitely before that trip. Storage, I want to get plenty of storage put in. I also want to get the water system working, and I also want to get the gas hob plumbed in. So although that sounds like just 3 little things, they're all quite big jobs. Especially the gas, because I don't really know what I'm doing with that. So that'd be a laugh, won't it? Also, where the boiler and everything is underneath here, I want to get this all boxed in as well, because otherwise the kids will just kick it. Well, it's a new day, one haircut later, and I'm going to try and tackle maybe sorting out that metal bar that is going to hold the Vandermoon storage box. So this is that metal bar that I was on about. It's 4mm thick by 30 wide, I think, and it's very, very long. So I need to work out what size I'm going to do it. Yeah, anyway, let's have a look inside the van. Right, obviously this is way too long at the minute. I need to measure it, get it to the right length. I think drill it. Let's just put that down too. Measure it, get it to the right length, drill the holes in place for the fixings, drill the holes in place for where it's going to attach to the roof, and then I'm going to paint it white so it's not quite so obvious, because obviously you're going to see that in certain parts. That's way too long. I think I need to get it attached to probably all the way up to the front onto this bit of wood up here, which I know the wood isn't going to be like super strong, but just so it offers another point of support. I think maybe there, and also that one, I think. So that'll give 4 anchor points for this bit of metal. Yeah, and then there'll be 4 points where it will attach to the actual box. It's a bit chilly, I might put the diesel heater on. I suppose that'll check that it's working as well, won't it? At least I've not drilled through it. It does work still. Well, the heater works. It's getting warmer in here now, which is good. Right. Let's hope I've cut this to the right length. I cut it with a hacksaw. I really need an angle grinder because it's a right pain. Anyway, I cut it with a hacksaw and then I've just filed off the edges. So it just makes it not quite as sharp on the edges. But I'm going to paint it as well. So that is roughly where that's going to go, about there. I think I need to try and do the riv nuts in the roof first, actually. Yeah, I'm actually going to try and do the riv nuts in the roof first, because then I know that once they're obviously fixed in place, then that's exactly where the holes for the metal bar have to go. Hopefully that makes sense. Right, let's just try and drill one, see what happens. Right, I'm going to try and do them in M6. And the main reason for that is because if I get it wrong, I can at least then go up to M8. Rather than if I just commit and go for M8 and I get it wrong, I can't really go any bigger. I'm going to have to go quite big on the hole to get through, to actually get the riv nut tool in there and fixing in. going to pull the ceiling down. That's not going to work. Not a simple job, is it? Never is on a van build. Maybe it'll be attached to the actual roof. It'll come through. Well, it's well and truly tipping it down now. I've had a bit of a chat with Van der Moon. My method that I was going to do was never really going to work anyway by the looks of things. So I've gone back to the drawing board. I'm going to have to remove these two boards, which shouldn't be too much of an issue, hopefully. They do go underneath this. I'll have to remove that and put that back in. I'm going to have to remove these two boards, and then I'm going to have to get... They sell a... like a rail that goes in between these struts. I'm going to have to measure them, get... Van der Moon are going to send me some of these, basically as a support to mount it to actual structural parts of the van. Yeah, going through there just isn't going to work because there's too many. There's the odd hole here and there, and I think I'm actually hitting one of those as well. It's too risky just drilling blind through there. Good thing about doing it this way is I'll be able to fit these bars that go in between, and then I can pretty much, well, I can mount the actual box anywhere along this run. It's going to be a little while. Van der Moon are a Polish company, so I've got to measure those and then get that stuff shipped from Poland, so it'll be a little while. Obviously there is tons of stuff that I can get on with, but I'm going to leave it there for this video, and yeah, hope you've enjoyed watching me struggle through trying to install this stuff. But the main thing is, what I'm really pleased about is getting that wall sorted. I'm pretty chuffed with that. It looks really good. Just needs painting, which I'll get Lizzie to do because I don't like painting. But yeah, then we'll crack on with some other stuff in a later video. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Cheers!